I'm currently in a loop of thoughts right now, and I keep a diary. I've only been started doing this recently. Keep a diary. I write quite a few things, not that many things. I'm not reading off this. It's just I read this before I started, and I have these loop thoughts. It's just the same thoughts I'm having all the time because I'm not very happy with the way things are going at the moment. Not just with my life. That's not great. Like obviously, I'm sitting in a house right now. It's not hard, but it's not happy either. But I think the thoughts that are going around my head are basically that as a society, what we think, what we do, what we want is all completely distorted and wrong, in my opinion. It's very tunnel vision. It's basic, in my opinion. Like, why should you work for 50 years if you've not found yourself, your purpose, you've not went into depth in anything, you've sort of just skimmed along, not full on went for it. Sorry, got for it. But I'm not lazy. Depends with what. Obviously, I'm still only 18, so I'm lazy with what every other 18-year-old's lazy with. But I do have a job, and I feel that why should someone work for 50 years of their life? And let's say it's a middle class person. That person, just on like averages, is most likely going to have an office job. And an office job is not going to benefit them. Yes, it benefits them financially, which lets them buy a car, a house, whatever, and that's what we're told makes us happy, even though it clearly doesn't. People still seem to think it does. In my opinion, they're idiots, but obviously I'm just an arrogant human that also thinks their thoughts are right, along with 7 billion other people which also think they're right, which is why this is all a bit messed up. So yeah, like I was saying, so they work for 50 years. They're working for a business in an office. They are, and let's say they're intelligent, they've got intellect, they've got the skills for the job. They do the job well, no complaints. But at the end of those 50 years, they've spent, let's say, a half of that time just working to benefit this company, using their brain, their thoughts to benefit people higher up or the company as a whole, whatever it is. Depends what company it is. Obviously, if it's a charity, a different thing. But if it's an example like Coca-Cola, you're working in the office's marketing or something, and you're doing a good job on that. So you do that, but what do you get out of it at the end? You've got some money, you've got a house. You've never really thought about why you exist, and you might be religious, but I'm not against religion. I think religion is a good thing to have because for some people they would melt down without it. They need some hope, they need something to look for, they need possibility that things could get better, which is perfectly fine. But I think it's also, religion can be a bad thing in a way because it's a very easy way to go. It's a very easy way of not making your own conclusion, which is what I think every human should be doing. Is, yeah, their conclusions might be wrong, like probably most of the things I'm saying right now are wrong, but it's still my own thoughts, and I've thought these through, and no one else has made these decisions for me. I've made them purely myself. So I think that this is something people should do, basically. Sorry for stuttering there. I'm just doing this off the top of my head, and I'm thinking so much stuff. It's like trying to remember everything. So yeah, as I was saying, with 50 years, it's not what I want, really. I don't want to not have anything at the end of it. What have I got to show for a house? But if I got any life lessons learned from it, maybe like, don't go to work, don't stay up late before work or some stupid stuff. But it's not like a real life lesson. And I think that we have it too easy in this country, and that as humans we also seem to forget that we're animals. And I know that sounds really stupid saying that, but I mean, we have instincts. Let's say an instinct is like being attracted to someone, things like problem solving, things like being baited, I guess. They're just not instincts, but it's just what an animal does. It's just part of the loop of animals. And we are an animal. We seem to think it's hilarious when you see an animal, let's say a dog or a monkey, and as humans we feel that we have the power to, just with food, that we can basically control them, or we could get them to do something, and we think that we have the complete power over them. But the same is true for humans. Other humans can bait humans with money. Money is basically what food is to a dog or a monkey, really. It's something that every human is going for, and every animal is going for food as well, but you can easily get baited in with money. People could control you, do what they want, manipulate you. It's the same with animals, but people seem to think that we're our own thing. We shouldn't even, oh, that's stupid that you're thinking this or wanting this, but we are just animals. It all comes down to just nature, really. And I just have a lot of different thoughts. I'm just gonna read a little bit of this to see what else I've got to say. All this was off the top of my head. I'm just trying to think of points that I usually like talking about. Like, yeah, as one bit, I wouldn't say I'm an intellectual person or clever, or like my grammar and all that is just terrible. My spelling's not great. My handwriting looks like a 7-year-old. I didn't do particularly well in school, but I also feel bad for people that not are intellectual, because that's a great thing. People that are clever, that's good. I feel like they should use that intelligence better though than they currently are. They're currently using it, as I said, as an office job, or obviously people that have their own businesses, sort of different story, but people that just get a job working for someone else or some other company are using that brain power wrong, because the people are going to applaud them, their families are going to be happy because they go to uni, they get their dream job, they got all the money they don't know what to do with, but what are they achieving? No satisfaction, really. It's a very monotonous, repetitive, long, boring life. And I don't mean it in a very, like, a depressive way, but I would much rather live, let's only say 40 years, but if those 40 years I could find people, because I think friends or communicating with other humans is a huge part of being alive, and I think it's something that's completely underrated. I think we should be communicating with as many people as possible, seeing other people's opinions, debating, discussion. It's an important step, and I just feel that it is wasted. With intellectual people could be using it way more to find a meaning for us, with like why we exist, how we exist, what our future is, what our goals are, not being greedy. And greed is obviously, as everyone knows, it's just a well-known fact that it's just another natural thing to be greedy, but we can stop it if we try. And yes, I know animals are greedy too, but as on a whole, humans are 100% the greediest thing on this earth, and we still think that we're high and mighty, have control of everything. Just because we can communicate easier between other humans and other life forms like us doesn't mean that we're necessarily better than another animal on earth. Yes, we might be better than some animals, but it doesn't mean we are the best just because of this. And we are really arrogant, and I think that it is bad. Like, as I can be arrogant right now, but it is very annoying. I'm trying to think what else I have to say. I just want to go on a rant. I usually write down, when I have feelings or if I'm thinking things, and this is what I've been doing, but this isn't enough. It's good as a temporary solution, but I need to get this out, vent it, and this is the only way I can really think of doing it. I talk to friends, family. My parents completely disagree with me. That's fair enough. They don't need to agree with me. It doesn't, as I said, it doesn't mean what I'm thinking is right. It's what I think though, and I think because it's what I believe, I should be passionate about it and go for it. And this is why I'm going to college in August. It's currently May. It's just about to turn June, but I don't want to go to college, honestly. I feel it being, I'm given into the system. I'm given into being just part of the paying for other people. Well, giving people with that are higher up even more money. Being a consumer, things like this. I would much rather, even like woofering. I know woofering is a basic thing. I don't mean I want to do that my whole life, but it's definitely something I want to experience, and I think it would be good for me to have something like that, because it's a sense of, you know, you're actually doing something. You're what's the word? I'm trying to think. My mind's a bit cloudy right now. It's just, I have so many things to say, but it's very awkward and weird in front of a camera. Usually when it's with other people I can just roll off the tongue, but this is a completely unnatural scenario for me right now, so I'm not really comfortable, as you can tell by my like stupid hand signals and stuff, but I'm trying to think how to get comfy. I just need to relax. I just need to act like the camera's not here. Let's just think. I'll read this and then I'm gonna say some stuff. So what I wrote in this is what I wrote. This is just what I wrote at work one night, thinking about it, you know, what I'm doing with my life just now, and that even if I go to college and then if I go to uni and get a job, I honestly don't give a shit. It's gonna suck. That is a shitty life, fucking terrible life. But everyone out this window here, I don't know, hopefully it can focus. All the houses out there, that's what every other single person is doing, and they seem to be happy, except I don't truly think most people are happy. They can put a face on that they're happy, but with the things they've achieved, I reckon most people out there would not have reached the goals or do the things that they wanted to do with their life, which is, I'm only 18, but I know, I have thoughts, I have ideas that I want to do right now, and if I don't do them, I'm never going to do them. And if I don't, I'll hate my life when I'm older, or when I'm 40, 50, have my midlife crisis. I genuinely think I'm going through my midlife crisis right now. I don't want to act like I'm egotistical, because I don't think that I'm the best or I'm right. I just think that I need to be making my own mind up, not other people, or not be just going with the flow, you know, just with the cattle, with the sheep, whatever you want to call it, just going along with it. That doesn't mean it's right, just going with things. Just, even though a lot of people do things or a lot of people think things, doesn't mean that they are right. So, let's see. This is the thing I wrote. Shit, I forgot about it. So, this isn't something I do very often, the diary. It's just an every so often thing I write. I just called it my thoughts on life, the system, the future, and why we are here. Or why we are, sorry. I'll say it again because it doesn't mean that I think this is right. It's just, this is what I think. This is what only 18 years has brought me to conclusion-wise so far. Obviously, my mind could completely change. Anyway, I'm going on. What I wrote is, I feel that the current life that we as humans live is pointless. I'm not saying that this isn't a point, and I'll start that again, it's really weird reading when on camera. I feel that the current life that we as humans live is pointless. I'm not saying that there isn't a point in why we live, but what we currently want, strive for, think and do is completely wrong. Why should I or anyone else work for 50 years of their life if they don't know or find their purpose? Who cares if we own a nice house, car, clothes, and have more money than we know what to do with? Because ultimately that person is going to have a very basic life in terms of happiness, finding themselves and not questioning why they've dedicated their life towards this system or this train of thought. Yeah, religion exists and many people follow it, but in terms of solid information, it is very scarce. Well, this is what I believe anyways. Obviously, I could be offending many people right now, I'm sorry. I'm not against people's beliefs, and I think it's great that they want to find things out, but it's a way that I personally think is too easy. No full self-analysis has been done. It's almost just like taking someone else's word for it. Of course, this is just coming from one arrogant human, my usual thing that I say, that thinks their ideas are right, along with another 7 billion who also think they're right. As I said, my grammar, my spelling, all bad. That's not the point now. Of course, this is just coming from, I said that bit, we seem to forget or purposely push ourselves as far away from the fact that we're animals ourselves on this world, along with every other living creature. And that natural instinct, thoughts or actions are wrong or stupid just because the masses look down upon it. We like to think of ourselves as the best creature on this planet in terms of intelligence and all round. Why is this? Just because we can control them by tricks such as baiting an animal to go somewhere just with the power of food and, like I said, food and money. But I don't seem to realise that we act the exact same because we're also just an animal that is using the instincts that are buried deep down inside them. Companies know this, and it works a treat for them, subconsciously making the instincts react to a message, image, or event. That's just obviously that's marketing. That's nothing really to do with it. I'm just reading everything I wrote here. Obviously, all of this isn't relevant to what I was saying, but some of it is. And here I said, I'm not an intellectual person or particularly clever. This is clearly visible by my grammar, spelling, and handwriting. That's if someone was reading this, obviously. But I feel that people that do have natural intelligence don't use it in the correct way. Yes, they do well at school, get a good job, and possibly get a decent salary, but they're spending 50 years of their lives most likely working for an organisation that benefits from the person using their intelligence to make them profit or solve their problems. This is what I meant. It's not solving the person's problems, it's solving the business's problems. So that's 50 years of solving a business's problems. Where are you during this time? Yeah, you have some free time, but that time will be spent family, driving your car that you've paid for with all this money. It's pointless. Let's see, problems are sometimes their own benefit. Seems like a waste in my opinion, but what do I know? They're earning more money than me, so they must be happier than me. Which is obviously just a sarcastic remark, but I think it's like an interesting topic. I just find that we do just sort of cave into the system, and things like open-minded people are sort of looked down upon. I feel that like an open-minded person is a great thing in my opinion, but open-minded does sometimes mean you have to throw new theories, new ideas, new thoughts out there that people don't really agree with or think about at the moment, and they'll be looked down upon. But it's like anything, like Darwin with evolution. When he said about evolution, everybody completely thought he was an idiot, being an asshole, making it up. He wasn't. It's now scientific fact that evolution exists, and that's what happened, that's why we're here. And at the time, everybody will have thought he was wrong. Everybody will have thought that what he was thinking was just idiotic, just because everyone else wasn't thinking that. And that's why this whole country, or even this whole world really, runs off that principle. And I think it's just crazy. People need to make their own decisions, their own thoughts. It's very basic, but I see myself saying it or thinking it every single day. It feels like the world is just a loop. Humans are in this cycle. It's just go to school, get a job, have kids, get a mortgage, so you're tied down for 25 years, and then kids grow up. I'm not saying that it's not a nice time. You would enjoy having kids, you'd love them, all that stuff, but the all round, at the end you retire and you look back at your life and you think, I had a life the exact same as everyone else's, and I guess that's me, that's my nail in the coffin, that's me done. Yeah, you could try and make the most of it then when you're retired, but physical impurities, things like that would stop you. It's just, I guess people do start to realise or think about these things when they get older, and that's why midlife crisis exists, or that's why people sort of do get depressed, because they realise that they've wasted their life on something that was completely irrelevant. And yeah, as I said, this is the point I'm at, and I'm trying to think what to do. college is just going to be 2 years of doing just to say computing's what I'm going to be doing. Computing's my thing, and that seems like a very hypocritical thing to do, but I'm only doing it because I feel it's one of the only skills I have. Computing, I like to build them, I like everything about them, listen to keep up with the latest news, whatever, and I would class myself as a consumer. I don't want to be. I'm trying to get out of it. This is the problem I'm in. It's very hard. It's ingrained deep inside us from an early age. We're marketed at constantly. Educational systems just get it deep down. Consumerism, that's what you want, that's how you'll be happy. Completely wrong. It's fucking bullshit. We're still pushed for consumerism, even though it's common sense that is fucking stupid anyway, and it's just going to keep going like that for however long. But I reckon there will be some sort of revolution soon, because people are starting to realise life is shit. It's boring. Who wants that out there? I do not want that fucking life out there right now of, oh, you've got a house, go to work, come home, catch up what everyone's done for the day, which is the same as every other day. Go back to work, get some money at the weekend. What are we going to do? Let's go buy stuff. That sounds like a great idea, buy stuff. And yeah, I'm just trying to... I try to appreciate small things, because I think that's what we don't do either. We don't appreciate small things. We love getting our fixes on buying new things, but we don't appreciate things long enough, or smaller things. Let's try and think of an example of things to appreciate that I think people need to do more often. Obviously, just nature, landscape, scenery, animals. A lot of people do still appreciate that good. I'm glad it's not that fucked that people don't appreciate nature anymore. They do, so that's, thank God. What's the thing I appreciate? Things like, it's hard to think on the spot. Like human contact. When, say I'm at a bus stop and someone else is at a bus stop with me, and just a conversation starts because they ask, what time is it? Something like that. When's the next bus? You get into a conversation. It's going. There's a connection. There's. I don't know how to explain it. Obviously, people think it's just, oh, you're getting along. I feel myself that there is a literal connection between you, or some thought way that it's not something you'd see, but is there. There's an energy connecting humans of some kind, and I really appreciate those moments I've had when I was in Glasgow. I think it's about 3 weeks ago now. I was just outside, and a guy asked me, just if you got signal or whatever, just basic chat. It got into it, and we just started discussing. We started talking about life, and he was telling me what his theories were, and he just thought I was thinking, I thought this before the guy told me this, but this guy just put it in, solidified it for me, that do what dreams or aspirations you have now, do them right now, don't delay them, do them, don't be lazy, get them done. And it just he was my kind of person, really. I don't really get along with many people. I have friends, I have really close friends, and we get along well, a girlfriend, all that stuff, but general public I usually don't get along with. I feel they're just, thoughts are insanely just warped, honestly. They're so warped. It's just, they'll start talking to me about, oh, I bought new shoes or something. I'm like, why would I give a fuck about that? Or why should you give a fuck about that? That's your life is revolving around you getting new things. Why? Of course I still buy things. Everyone does buy things. I'm trying to limit it, as I said. The only expensive thing I've bought recently was a camera, but that's because that is for, I want to try and make a documentary, or I want to start filming and going round. I want to ask people these questions. That's why I got a camera. But besides that, I don't really even buy many things anymore. I try to with work, I try to go on just what I can survive on, really. I don't want more hours, otherwise I'm just wasting my time. That's just getting greedy, that's just getting money for the sake of buying things at that point. So I get enough money to just survive on, really. It's not very much at all, I get, but it's fine, you know. I've got free time, I can spend that thinking about my life, I communicate with people, seeing people doing things, going away, or trying to make a difference. And I feel like that's going against everything that people want you to do. Like, everybody hates that I didn't go to college. I left high school over a year ago now, and I finished high school, got to the very end of it, finished it, and everyone was all the school was going on about college, uni, everybody like, oh, you have to go to college, you have to go to uni, otherwise your life's just going to be terrible. So I applied for college, got an offer, and then I really didn't know what to do. I was still kind of I didn't know what I wanted. And I decided a couple months before college, was starting, it was getting near the deadline when I had to accept. I declined it, and I'm honestly really glad I did that. If not, I reckon I would just be in the loop. If I didn't do that, I would just be like every other person that's going through college and uni right now. So yeah, it's just a crazy thing to think of. Like, yeah, so go to college and then get a job and then stay in that job, buy things every so often, find someone, have a children, whatever, get a house, buy nice things again, have some nice family moments. They are really nice, they're good, and then back to work. But those good moments are they're not often. Obviously we can't just have good moments all the time, we need low and highs to even it out. But at the moment it's sort of low, ridiculously high. It's far too high, and then low. It should just be good or high, but not ridiculous, just a good level, and then back to low, or not in that pattern, but equal. But it is just low most of the time, then when it gets high, ridiculously high, and I guess it does even out, but that's not a good way to do it. It just means when you get those high moments, you just, oh yes, this is amazing, I love my life, I love everything, and then you go back to work and you just, no wonder so many people are getting depression nowadays. Honestly, I don't have it. I feel really lucky that I don't have it, and I really do feel for people that have it. It seems like a horrible thing, and I don't blame them for getting it. It's a terrible, corrupt, greedy world that we live in. It's the government, the leaders, they really could not give a shit about the people's mental health problems. As long as that person gets over their mental health, goes back to work and pays their bills so they can keep getting money, they won't give a shit. Obviously, if mental health got a huge problem that they weren't getting money anymore, then there would be an outrage, then they would do their fucking best to sort it, I'm sure. But also, I'm glad many people do realise that as well. Many people hate the leaders and the people that run our country because they do not give a crap. No wonder politicians that try to do the right thing or never get in. It's as soon as someone speaks their mind or speaks the truth, they're just pushed away, or just lies are told, basically. Like, things which drive me insane are things like the BBC. The BBC is, yes, it can be good sometimes, but a lot of very pinpoint subjects can be biased, honestly. And I'm not just saying this because I've heard other people say it. I've been noticing this since I was probably about, 12. you would see stories and like at the moment, for example, the EU referendum, right? Obviously, the government is pro Europe, so they want to stay in Europe, and I think it's crazy that the government's even allowed to say that they're pro Europe. They should be neutral anyway, because then it means they'll have more money and they can. It doesn't matter. But yeah, with the EU referendum, the BBC keep reporting on positives of staying in Europe, and they keep going on about. I've not seen them say any positives yet on leaving Europe. I honestly don't know what I want. I need to make my own decision. I haven't done it yet. I need to research if I want to stay in or out. The fact is, one might be better than the other, but it needs to be neutral from the BBC. It needs to be fair, and it isn't fair. The BBC are literally just going on about how Europe's great, not talking about anything else. They have control, that's the problem. They can influence so many people, because people will be thinking, oh yeah, the BBC is saying that it's only good if we stay in Europe. It obviously is, because I trust them as a news source, when they are literally just not lying, they're just being very deceptive. Fucking hell, it's crazy. I just need to find more people to talk to. Like, I've just been trying to follow the philosophy of just don't. Caring is the biggest problem as well. People that care about image and care about what people think about them, or care about being a crowd pleaser, that I don't communicate with people like that anymore. Get along with people like that. Those people, I'd not do anything for them, honestly, because they're selfish. Life revolves around them. Greedy. I don't want to be with that. That's just negative energy that you don't need or want. I want to be with people that can just let go. They can. They might look daft. People might think they're crazy. Might be silly. They're genuine people. They're not being anything they're not, you know. They're just being themselves, which is greatly underrated, honestly. Yeah, but so I've been trying to follow that philosophy of not caring. It's for probably about, 10 months or something. It's been good. Going down the street, you know, like I listen to music before I go to work, earphones, headphones, whatever. I used to just walk down the street listening to music, but now I've always wanted to dance while doing it. I never used to dance going down. I don't know, it's a very small thing. It's not that big a deal of caring, but it's still something I never used to do before. But now I just completely go dance, just full legs, arms, head, going for it. Even when there's a crowd of people, just go through like that. You get funny looks, but I feel great inside. I'm not causing anyone. Obviously, there's certain limits. If you're causing anyone else discomfort, or you're being greedy, or someone's, it's not. You're in the way of someone or something. That's not great. But if I'm just doing my own thing, it's not disrupting anyone. No one's getting harmed by it. You should just do it then. It's not. It's like thinking, oh, but what if this person knows who I am, or they heard my name, or what about my reputation? Just fuck off about your reputation. I fucking hate things like Facebook, right? I've been on Facebook since I was 12. Or no, yeah, 12. So that means I've been on Facebook for 6 years. Right? Facebook is terrible. It's an addiction. It's horrible. You need to get off Facebook. Facebook's the biggest waste of people's lives. It's a huge waste of life. It's just people putting up every little detail about their life, making yours seem like nothing, only because they're literally posting the greatest moments in their life, which, in my opinion, aren't even that great. And it makes you get down. It makes you want these things. You need to see what people are up to. You need to care. Oh, what do people think about me when I do this? Or videos of someone with a nice car, or a stupid video which isn't even funny. People commenting with shitty emoticons. all this stuff just drives me insane. It's a waste. I hate it. It's just I try to stay away from Facebook, but it is an addiction. I'm trying to get off it hard, but I'm sure one day I can hopefully do it. I don't know, that's a very first world problem, but that's what's like fuck the world is. Things like that are a problem nowadays. Let me see if I just want to look at this one. Let me see if camera I can reach. I hope I can. So this is where I live, just in Peebles. Nice little country town. It's an alright day, but we can put this back in and get back on topic. Getting distracted, of course. So this has been a very long rant, but it's just how I feel, really. I've never done anything like this before. Don't know if I'll do it again. I don't even know if I'm gonna post this. It's just initially this was just gonna be for myself, you know, like a little log. But I am tempted to post it, not for the fact of trying to tell people that I'm right or getting views, getting money, like all this stuff is for if anyone else has the same mindset or thoughts as me and they see it, no one's going to see it, probably get one view, doesn't matter. Even if that one person that viewed it had the same mindset or same thoughts, hopefully they feel that there is, you know, there's other people like them. I don't mean that I'm right, I just mean that it is good to know, like I feel like that some days. I'm like, the world's doomed. Most people are just, I guess, sheep. That's what I'd call them, really. And they just care about the wrong things. But then I can go on, I have done in the past, seen a video and I thought, wow, this person, I understand them. I'm on the same wavelength as them, and it's a nice feeling. You feel there is hope, and that's basically what I'm just trying to do. Try to raise awareness. I guess that just sounds very strange saying that. Awareness over people that are similar to them. Out of 7 billion people, obviously there's similar people, but it's just we're kind of people that do think of our way, the non-mass way. I look down upon and frowned upon, which, well, fuck those people, I guess. Okay, my future is very unknown at the moment, and I like that. I would hate to be at uni right now, thinking I know what my life's gonna be. You don't maybe know the exact job you're gonna have. You're gonna have a job. You're gonna know the rough amount of money you're gonna make, and it's gonna be far too boring and far too fucking easy. Jesus Christ. Not knowing what tomorrow holds, because I don't even know when I'm working. Of course that's quite annoying, but it's better, you know. It's not having a routine can sometimes be a good thing, but it can also be a terrible thing. And my plan is to, everybody says stuff like this all the time, but it definitely is to want to try woofering. I want to try just different cultures, because obviously British culture is one of the worst cultures in the world. I really don't like Britain, honestly. It's a very stupid country, not in the intellect, like intelligence wise, just what we think is so ridiculous. British people all think they're right, including me, of course. No, I'm kidding, but British people all think they're right. They love beer and alcohol like crazy. They're obsessed with drinking. Yeah, drinking it's okay. I can see why people do it, I guess, but doing it to the extent that British people doing it is fucking stupid. It's an okay thing once in a while, and you feel terrible the next day. So like alcohol, like beer, like drinking culture in Britain is stupid, but it's cool, and it's still looked upon as cool somehow. It's just crazy. So you've got drinking culture, you've got lad culture, all this shit. You've got fashion, you've got consumerism, You've got things like owning possessions, trying to make yourself look better, trying to show off. What else have you got? You've got people that are in higher end jobs look down upon lower people with low jobs. Which obviously they're going to be like that because they're surrounded with like-minded people in an office that all think that having a good job means they've got a good life. I would end this video now, but it's just, I'm kind of enjoying just talking. I might be silent for a few moments, but I'm just trying to think of what to say because I want to talk about so much stuff. And it's just hard to all think about. Let me think. The BBC being owned by the spill recently. BBC were quiet about that oil spill because in the top people that have shares in BBC, people that are high up in BBC are, shit, this is the bit I'm not informed on, so I'm gonna give false information session, do that, but it's something to do with an oil company. Like an owner of that has high shares in BBC, or they have some say over what happened really, and the person owns a big share or owns a bit of the oil company that spilt the oil, and they also have shares and own a bit of BBC. So I was just silent. Of course it was. And yet the BBC always report another stupid shit which doesn't matter. They honestly are like what's those magazines, the like women's magazines, not the women's, that sounds bad, that's very sexist, but the fashion magazines and like celebrity magazines.